and welcome everyone. This is Amhara Media Corporation, Amhara TV, and you're watching our daily news live from the studio. I'm Gaila Damu. Stay with us. According to the Office of the Prime Minister, the terrorist TPLF is committing massacres after it suffered great losses in Amhara and Afar region. Bran Warkna reports.
Prime Minister Office of Press Secretary Bilen Isim told the international media yesterday that the killing of about 200 innocent civilians in Chinakabale of Amhara region has been confirmed. According to her, women, children, elders and deacons were among the executed, and the government condemns the targeted killings in the strongest term. Bilen stated that a committee established to investigate exactly how many individuals have been on the ground, and these figures may change. She pointed out that the China massacre in Amhara region is an extension of the Maikadra massacre committed by TPLF Samre group that targeted ethnic Amharas in November 2020, when more than 1,000 civilians were brutally killed in the early day of the conflict. The press secretary added that the recent killings in Amhara and Afar regions are a disparate action by the terrorist organization that is being routed out. Bileni underscored that the terrorist TPLF have suffered great losses routed out, as they are being routed off the Afar and Amhara regions, and these attacks were retaliatory on innocent civilians.
In recent days, it is to be noted that the terrorist TPLF group has suffered great losses as they are being routed out of the Afar and Amhara regions, and these attacks were retaliatory attacks on innocent civilians or loss attacks.
She further revealed that the TPLF has been plundering and destroying places of worship, government offices and health centers.
The recent and sad destruction is in Sakota, where renowned global athlete Haile Gebrselassie, who had built a school for up to 500 impoverished children in the community, has been completely decimated. This group has been destroyed by the terrorist group, true to the words of their spokesperson, who several weeks ago indicated in an interview that they would take punitive measures in the Amhara region.
Speaking on the humanitarian situation in the northern part of the country, the press secretary said more than 76,500 people have been displaced from Afar region due to the TPLF belligerents. The federal government and the World Food Program have distributed 7,655 quintals of food for 45,000 displaced people as of August 31, 2021. Similarly, there are significant number of internal displaced persons in Amhara from mainly Wagamra, North Gondar, South Gondar and North Wallo zones of the region. For instance, more than 115,000 are sheltered in Desse due to TPLF provocations and attacks.
And the reason that I am calling your attention to this is that about 3 hours ago, the terrorist TPLF group have posted a statement online with images showing their fighters on trucks resembling these ones that have been deployed for humanitarian assistance. So I leave the investigation to you.
As of August 31, 2021, the federal government jointly with partners distributed 23,852 quintals of food for IDPs in the city town. Bilani also explained the humanitarian access in Tigray as of September 4, 2021. Some 735 trucks of humanitarian assistance has entered Tigray region and reached their destinations, while more trucks are still en route.
According to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, despite some challenges, Ethiopia has registered commendable diplomatic achievements over the past year. Fikar Dizaudu tells us more.
In his weekly media briefing, spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Dina Mufti, highlighted some diplomatic challenges encountered and achievements registered during the just concluded Ethiopian year. He said, one of the positive achievements is related with the construction of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. According to him, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam issues is a huge diplomatic victory for Ethiopia, as the second round filling of the dam was also realized during the year.
We have been withstanding attempts to internationalize and securitize the GERD issue. The motto of African solution to African problems prevailed so far. For us, this is a huge diplomatic victory. The second filling was also realized, despite the doomsdayers' wishes and those accusing us of unilateral actions.
The spokesperson added that the general election and the Green Legacy Initiative were also among the positive achievements that the nation has registered over the past 1 year. The general election conducted last June was one of the victories that Ethiopia has registered, as the election was acclaimed by several international observers and organizations for its fairness, democratic and peacefulness. He said that the Green Legacy Initiative being implemented across the nation is another success story that Ethiopia intends to contribute its part for world climate change. He stated that the initiatives have helped the diplomats to positively portray the image of the country besides adorning Ethiopia with billions of planted seedlings. Ethiopian embassies in the neighboring countries have also been busy sharing seedlings sent from Ethiopia to the countries that they represent, in addition to sharing experiences on the project. The commitment to bringing Ethiopian citizens from abroad, those stranded because of various difficulties, has been outstanding things, he said, adding that despite many other success stories, the challenges are still paramount. According to Ambassador Dina, the participation of the diaspora has been realized with regard to protecting Ethiopian sovereignty, peace and security. Following the unwarranted attack of the TPLF against the Ethiopian National Defense Force, the government took a successful law enforcement operation and the threat posed against the sovereignty of the country curbed. He noted that we have seen unfair external pressure and negative portrayal of the government's narrative by the media in some corners of the international community, considering the terrorist TPLF as a victim, whitewashing almost all of its misdeeds. However, Dina said the truth at last is prevailing, with Ethiopia's concerted effort in shaping the social media narrative and influencing some reluctant bodies to officially condemn the wrongs of the terrorist group. He expressed his hope that the establishment of the new government in early October will be undertaken, noting that with all-inclusive dialogue with relevant bodies, peace will be returned to the affected people in the Afar, Amhara and Tigray regions. He said that with regards to Ethio-Sudan border dispute, the situation has not been improved, but Ethiopia is handling the issue with utmost care and seriousness.
We still want to bring to the attention of the international community the fact that Sudanese have illegally kept occupying Ethiopia's legitimate territory, and we would like to impress on our partners to press on Sudanese parts to withdraw.
On the other hand, Dina stressed that the false claim made by some Sudanese officials about the shipment of weapons by Ethiopian Airlines is primarily to tarnish the image of Ethiopian Airlines.
Tigray Democratic Party chairperson Argawi Barhe said that Tigrayan opposition political parties need to work together to challenge the misconception of foreign forces, which seem to have confused democracy and personal relationship with TPLF. Bukardi Zaudu has the details.
The chairperson told Ethiopian news agency that although there are several Tigrayan opposition parties, they are not working together to help the people of Tigray come out of misery and suffering. The chairperson stated that the opposition parties have not also done much, not even little, to mitigate the situation in Tigray. He said, adding that they have not come together to alleviate the challenges the Tigray people have faced at this critical time. Aragawi noted that it is natural for parties to have political and ideological differences. However, they can cooperate on common issues and about how they can resolve the problems of Tigray.
There is a great need of these people, of the opposition forces, to come together to challenge the misconception of the foreign forces who seem to confuse formal democracy and personal relationships.
According to him, the international community has its interests and each nation its own individual interests. The Westerns always pursue and look for the government leaders who serve their interests. Obviously, TPLF was a subservient group which served the interests of some Western countries and the U.S. government. Aragawi pointed out that Ethiopia is now in transition and a government is elected, but the U.S. and European governments are trying in the name of negotiation to involve the terrorist organization TPLF in the government.
They are trying in the name of negotiation, peace negotiation, they are trying to involve the terrorist organization of the TPLF, which the Ethiopian parliament has rightly characterized this group.
Aragawi urged Western countries to come to their senses and respect international law and have clear stand on human rights, devoid of partiality and not looking for some subservient group.
The world-renowned Ethiopian athlete Haile Gebrselassie has blamed some international medias for their biased and unbalanced report on Ethiopia's internal affairs and the Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam. Abebe Brahani has more.
Approached by Ethiopian news agency, Haile said he used to think that the international media, including the big ones, and also their social media were balanced. He commented that they are not reporting as a journalist. The celebrated athlete pointed out that they have to report the things they have seen and leave the judgment to the people, not just to themselves.
What I want to tell to the international community, especially the medias, there is just, I don't know, where is the balance? What I thought, just those international medias, including the big one, also the social media or social whatever, I thought they are very balanced. Sometimes just when they reported the things what I know, they report in different way. When I see that kind of news, hey, what's going on? Are they just are people who's just reporting about? They cannot decide. As a journalist, you have to report the things what you see and leave the judgment to the people, not just yourself.
Haile is also surprised by the calls of meetings about Ethiopia's internal issue at the United Nations Security Council every 2 weeks or so by some Western countries and organizations.
How many times they invite the United Nations Security Council? How many times for Ethiopia? Imagine. How come that? How come just it looks like every week, every 2 weeks? Did they have this kind of meetings for other country, for other cause? I don't think. As a citizen of Ethiopia, I feel, of course, we have a problem here. Our problem is among the brothers.
According to him, the world is unfair with regard to the GERD. He wondered what they would have said if the water came from Egypt to Ethiopia. They would certainly defend Egypt.
One thing what I want to tell just for the international community or the international media, whatever. Of course, we are facing a lot of problems, especially because of the dam, because of the Renaissance Dam, what we are building. The world is, I can say, just unfair. Why I say this is unfair? What do they say? Just if the water comes from Egypt to Ethiopia, do they say the same thing what they are doing now? And of course, just they telling us, oh, this is just between the three countries, between the upstream and the low stream countries.
Haile added that there is no any nation in this world with 60% of its population without electricity.
What's important now for us, let's do our part. Let's come together. We need this electric. 60% of our population is without electricity. 60% of our population without electricity. If I tell to the people who lives in Europe, America, they become shocked. Even they don't believe me. Haile, you are lying. They will say like that. You are lying. How come just 60% of your population without electricity? Is there anyone in this world, any country, even no in Afghanistan?
In his message to some Western countries and international organizations that are meddling in Ethiopia's internal affairs, Haile said, "Please don't interfere in the internal affairs of Ethiopia. When you touch Ethiopia, you will pay the price."
Ambassador Robert Chetkin-Tong said India has reiterated its strong commitment to the unity, sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ethiopia. Abebe Brahani reports.
In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, India's ambassador Chetkin-Tong said that his country's relationship with Ethiopia has been traditionally close and friendly. He added that the two countries are also cooperating at the international arena by respecting the interests of each country. According to him, the people of India had organized demonstrations to show their solidarity and support with the people of Ethiopia, even when foreign powers entered Addis Ababa in 1936, not only at this critical time. The ambassador further pointed out that India has affirmed its strong commitment to the unity, sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity of Ethiopia at the United Nations Security Council meeting last month.
India clearly stated that whatever lasting solution that should come should be Ethiopian-led and should be within the frameworks of Ethiopia.
He also stated about the current situation of the conflict.
Today, the conflict has expanded, and in the process, many civilians are being affected. So that is why we also have to address the humanitarian aspect, and we call on Ethiopia and all partners to come together to cooperate, to coordinate, so that humanitarian assistance can reach civilians who are being affected by this conflict.
Permanent representative of India to the United Nations, Ambassador Trumurti, has also at the United Nations Security Council meeting last August 2021 stated that the international community should come together, treat the emerging situation with sensitivity and seriousness, and extend all possible humanitarian assistance to Ethiopia. He reiterated that the humanitarian agencies also need to take measures to avoid diversion of humanitarian aid. The historical links between Ethiopia and India go back to about 2,000 years of recorded history.
Human rights activist in Tigray, Muez Gebrahiwet, has called on the international community to stop supporting the terrorist TPLF and cooperate with the legal parties operating in the region and the federal government in order to end the atrocities being committed by the terrorist group on the people in Tigray and adjacent regions. Brown Workana has more.
The terrorist TPLF has been demonstrating the fact that it is not ready to peace by continuing its destructive acts in Tigray and the adjacent regions of Afar and Amhara, rejecting the unilateral humanitarian ceasefire declared by the government of Ethiopia. However, some world powers are silent about the atrocities of the group and attempt to pressurize the government of Ethiopia to discuss peace with this terrorist group. In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, the human rights activist and peace ambassador Muaz Gebrahiwet said, TPLF is a terrorist group just like the Nigerian Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab in Somalia. He further urged the Western powers to call a spade is a spade and refrain from supporting the terrorist enterprise by any means.
ህወሓት አሸባሪ ነው አሸባሪ ብሎ በተወካዮች ምክር ቤት ተፈርጇል.
TPLF is a terrorist group like Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab. The group has been designated terrorist by the House of People's Representatives of Ethiopia. The international community is well aware of this. However, some members of the international community seem that they have attachment with the group.
ፓርቲዎች ከመስራት ከአሸባሪው ጋር ሆኖ እየሰራ ነው ያለው.
According to him, unless TPLF is eliminated, the people of Tigray as well as the whole of Ethiopia will continue to suffer with the evil acts of the group. He said the international community should try all its best to understand the true nature and objectives of the group and take measures to end the sufferings in Tigray. Despite the unilateral humanitarian ceasefire declared by the government to allow humanitarian aid to Tigray, the group has been blocking aid to create crisis and make political profit out of it. He pointed out that the group has been forcing the people in Tigray, including children, into war and making them cannon fodder just to attain its lust for power, recalling that the group had come to power with the blood of Tigrayans. He said there are a number of legal political parties operating in Tigray that could help tackle the current crisis in the region, adding that the international community should recognize these parties by stopping its support to the terrorist TPLF.
የዓለም መንግስታት የአሜሪካ መንግስታት ከአሸባሪ ጋር መስራት የለባቸውም።
International community need to work with Tigray Prosperity Party or ruling party, Tigray Democratic Party, TDEPA, Arena, Asimba Democratic Party and other peaceful citizens in Ethiopia in order to ensure peace and stability in the region as well as the whole of the country.
ከነዚህ ነው መስራት ያለባቸው።
He further called on the Tigray people to fight the terrorist group and bring culprits to justice in order to ensure peace in the region as well as in Ethiopia as a whole.
That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Many thanks for watching. Stay safe and happy Ethiopian New Year.